Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Doctor Who Debrief. We're going to be talking about the finale of series 8 of Doctor Who today, which was called Death in Heaven. It was an hour long, loads to talk about. But first, let's introduce everyone who's here.
Yay!
From right to left.
Hi, I'm Rob. Here every week. Say the same thing every week.
I'm Emma and I'm dressed like 11 today.
11th Doctor.
11th Doctor.
Not the number
Not
11.
just the number 11, because that would be ridiculous. More ridiculous than this bow tie.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Good.
I'm Chris. I didn't say that at the start, but I should do now. I'm Chris. So, let's talk about this Madcap episode. General
Sorry?
thoughts.
Madcap.
Madcap, because it was...
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Madcap.
it's a thing.
Is that like a mad recap?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a mad recap.
Madcap.
Rob, you've had some very vocal thoughts. Why don't you kick off?
Have
I know
I?
you've got lots to say.
Put me on the spot. Thanks, pal.
No pressure, buddy-o.
Cheers, mates.
Just get on with it.
So it was part 2 of a two-parter
Yeah.
episode. Great start, Rob. No, really impressed. It's kind of like they've saved all the good bits of the whole series for this one episode. So they've made the whole series below average and then kind of been like, oh, here's the good bit that we saved and hid away from you. Getting some controversial looks.
It's controversial.
It's true, though. We all saw Robot of Sherwood. Let's not be polite about it.
I got an explanation for why Robot of Sherwood was crap earlier. When I was talking to the Cybermen at work.
Sorry.
He said, no, because they shoot it out of sequence, so they don't do it like episode by episode by episode. So Robert of Sherwood was shot really later on, so he was like really comfortable with his character and like really comfortable with the comedy of it and everything. But because it was episode 3 of the series, we were still like getting to know
I
him,
see.
and that's why it felt really awkward, because it's like, okay, Capaldi, like...
Plus the story was just
You're not
shite.
Plus, the sonic screwdriver blew up the bit of wood, and that
Doesn't
really
do
irritates
that.
me. It doesn't work on
But
wood.
weren't
It
there-
doesn't blow shit up.
I've been waiting 9 episodes to say this.
Here we
There were
go.
things in the end of the arrows, weren't there? Didn't he say, this isn't in Death in Heaven, but we are tangentially? Because I thought he blew up the arrows. I thought that was why it exploded, because he said the arrows were laced with something.
No, you
Let's
making
just
it
ponder
up.
that.
Making it up. Okay,
Emma,
so
what
back
did
to
you
the
think?
actual
We'll come back to
so,
that.
so no, yeah, I was dead impressed. Felt like it tied up a lot of ends. The whole series, I've been saying, guys, does anyone remember the 50th when he was looking for Gallifrey? The whole series, he's not mentioned it, and that was like, I thought the 50th was a big setup for the search for Gallifrey, and then it's kind of not been mentioned, and then surprise! Thought Missy was amazing. Such
I
a
am
good
feeling that.
character. Kind of hated but loved at the same time. The Doctor free falling.
Oh, that was
to remember that.
incredible.
That was pure.
Free falling Doctor. Oh wait, he's gonna summon the TARDIS with the
Oh,
key.
it was so
It
cool.
was kind of the worst thing ever, but I was watching it going, this is everything I've dreamed of at the same time. So I kind of hated and loved it. So just so much good stuff. I think the BBC are going to get a pretty hefty bill from Marvel for the design of the Cybermen. Iron Man,
It
anyone?
was very Mark 1 Iron Man
So-
thing, wasn't it?
I hope the BBC has some pretty good lawyers in the department, because, yeah, hot water possibly. Very Iron Man, but no, so good, so good. Emma, over to you.
I wasn't keen on the episode as a whole. It wasn't my favourite of the series. The main redeeming factor was Michelle Gomez. She is incredible. And
This is Missy.
Missy, yeah. Who we all, we all kind of knew she was going to be the Master, didn't we? From episode 1, I said to you, oh my god, I think she's going to be the Master.
And I was like, no, she's River.
She's River.
And then the text that you sent me last week,
It's like, I told you she was the Master.
all
I
in
told
capitals.
you. All in capitals. Nail paint emojis. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. But I just thought she was amazing. So every scene she was in, I was
So
just like,
good.
amazing. But is she like, is she going to be back? Is she going to be back for the next series?
It was quite a sudden ending.
Because it was
She
a
got
bit
lasered,
of a...
didn't she?
Yeah,
I don't
she
know
got
if
by
she'll come back.
Sunny.
No, it wasn't by
No,
Danny. It
by-
was by Thingy's dad.
By
Thingy's dad.
General
Thingy's dad.
Stewart.
Yeah.
whatever his
Kate?
name is.
Kate's dad. But I don't know how he was still around when it was all the Cybermen but Danny were, like, following the orders.
I think maybe the
and
argument...
then they all flew up, and then he's just left.
Maybe the
And
argument
then he flew up.
is that people with an emotional bond are, like, not under control, i.e. Danny.
But are you telling me that every single person that is now dead in the world, apart from her dad and Danny, don't have an emotional connection to someone?
I don't know. Don't write to me.
There was just a couple of too many little plot holes like that in it for me.
It was... I thought parts of it were great, and I think we've all agreed that Missy was really, like, stupendous.
Yeah.
Just so, like, menacing and kind of bonkers and very Mary... You know, when she flew in on the umbrella?
Yes,
I was
Mary Poppins.
But yeah, I thought this would be the first episode where I found the Cybermen, like, scary. And parts of it were, like, the flying was like, oh, you know, we haven't seen that. But yeah, it just didn't make a whole lot of, you know, why some people got certain, like, Cybermen, you know, weren't connected. And then it did the thing in the chest, but it actually didn't work. And, you know, I thought, like, I really wanted to, like, I think maybe I wanted to like it more than I actually did.
Yeah, I think I'd really psyched myself up for it because last week was so
Yeah.
good that I had really high expectations. And I was a little disappointed, I'm afraid to say.
I think last week had the big reveal, though. It had the Master Missy reveal. It had the Cyberman reveal. So it was, like, so much...
But they followed... Because, like, the time before when they had the Master, they followed up on it. Because they had an episode where, like, the Master, John Tim, blah, blah, blah. And then the next episode was top notch. Whereas this was, like, the Master, woohoo. And then the follow-up episode was, like, so-so. I don't know.
It's because the last Master storyline had David Tennant and Bernard Cribbins running
true.
things. And it just... That is the pinnacle of television. The two of them coexisting. Like, nothing will ever... Literally... ever be as good. So it's unfair to compare absolutely anything in the world to that because it's just the best thing ever. So I think it's unfair to compare them.
So we've had loads of military stuff this season, and it has been in places quite heavy-handed, especially with Danny. And I guess I liked the payoff, how it all came to a point, and how they were saying, you know, how the Doctor was saying, "I'm not a soldier, I'm an idiot in a box," and all this stuff. But I guess I wanted to know what you guys thought with regards to how it all came to a point.
I think it was too much throughout the series because we've literally had a mention of it like pretty much every episode, haven't we? From Danny like having the little soldier keeping him safe when he was little, to the Dalek episode, which we won't talk that much about, when he says sorry I don't like soldiers and he didn't let Vod from Fresh Meat come with him. I just thought it was like a little bit too much, but I did like Danny with the little boy, and we saw that flashback. I really liked that last week, and then we got a little bit more of that this week.
Especially when he was a teacher with the kids as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah, because you saw like how much it must have been killing him. And then, so I did like from this episode, but I didn't like it throughout the series. I thought it was a little bit like too much in your face.
I really liked the military theme. I love the idea that the Master is just completely... like and utterly mad, made this army, then just gave it to the Doctor. It's like doesn't need an explanation, doesn't need to have a reason because it's the Master, the Mistress. That's good enough. And I just love the idea of the Doctor having an army and the sort of decision that he was seeing, because you think all the times that he's been in trouble and he's sort of been in these, you know, scenarios, if he just rocked up with an army of invincible Cybermen.
Yeah.
You would kind of think, you know, that's a good option.
Because he's quite often abstained from responsibility as well. So, like, in that Moon episode when he just, you know, buggered off. So, actually, now, if that had gone through, we would have seen a Doctor with a real, like, weight to his fist rather than just a man with a, you know, wizard rifle.
You know, next time he encounters the Daleks, he doesn't have to go inside the Dalek and find out. He could just go out and send his army out. But then he becomes a general, and he becomes another sort of tyrant of the universe. So I really was keen on that sort of military side of it, and putting the Doctor in that position and him kind of deciding if he wants the army. And it was quite an interesting decision to just destroy it and then carry on just going around with him and a screwdriver. So I was really keen on the military sort of theme in that context. I never would have guessed that it was leading up to that. Never.
No, I didn't see it.
Thousand million years. I thought it was just a massive cliche that they were just playing on, using Danny as a typical soldier character. And I was sick of it, to be honest, throughout the series, the whole military theme, and I was like, oh, it's boring. But then it leading up to this point just makes everything better. I loved everything about the episode.
You're really keen,
You're
aren't
really
you?
emotional.
Really on this. Oh no, it was so emotional with Clara and Danny, and she didn't want to switch him on.
Feels.
And, that got me a little bit. Had
I
tears
think
in my eyes a bit.
we do need to, in terms of emotion, the scene where they're hugging in the cafe and they're both just lying to each other.
Yeah,
was just
because
like,
you can't see your face.
Oh.
It's like, oh no.
I was just heartbroken.
I can't.
It's too much. It's too much emotion.
How do we feel about Danny as a Cyberman? Like we've said that it leads up to that military scenario, and didn't have to be a Cyberman, though, did he?
Did you call it last week? I feel like you said, I bet Danny's going to be the Cyberman that's good and on their side.
Probably.
Yeah, I thought
remember.
it was a bit... Like, it was just a bit unnecessary. I don't know.
It was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, James Corden was a Cyberman with feels. We've had it before.
We've
Plus-
had it right back to when Cyberman first came into New Who. And it's just like...
Do you remember the Cyberman episode when they were in like Battersea Power Station and they realised that there was like people inside, and one of the cyber women was crying because she was like getting married the next day.
Yeah.
Oh, she had the feels.
Yeah, and that was really emotional. So for this again, I was like, all right, emotional connection to the Cyberman again.
It's the
Okay.
first time they've taken the mask off, isn't it?
That was
Is that right?
horrific.
I
didn't like that.
I think it would have been
with
better
the-
if they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Plus, again,
How-
man.
And as well, like, I don't know, they're meant to be this, like, uniform kind of army. That's what's so scary about them. So as soon as you have, like, free thought and, like, oh, my mask's off, you think, like, they could all do it, you know?
Yeah.
It was just, like...
It's taken something away from them. But I liked that he was kind of like Michael Jackson in Thriller type makeup. You know what I mean? He was kind of, rotting ever so slightly, and you could see the things going into his cheeks and stuff like that.
Yeah. That was good costume design.
I think the makeup was really, really good on that. So I like seeing that because you could tell how much he was in pain. Like, you could tell like how much he just wanted it over.
It would have been more powerful if he kept the mask on, had Danny's voice and the piece of paper.
Yeah.
I
the
think
the
that would have
paper
been-
would have been better rather than just, like, dropping it to the floor.
Yeah, I think that would have been more powerful. So I think that was a bit unnecessary. But him sort of taking control of the Cybermen, and I thought that
Saving
was a
the
good.
world.
Yeah, it was a good ending.
And it's one of those endings as well where it's the only way they could have got rid of all the Cybermen is, like, blurring them all up. And you kind of think the whole way through, how's he going to do it? And actually it was quite a nice payoff, I think.
Thing is, Doctor didn't really do anything.
Well, he threw the bracelet to Danny. He had quite a good arm, Didn't
really do anything. It kind of resolved itself.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And the thing with the bracelet as well, that weird thing about the, did he work out? You get one teleport at the end. I was a bit like, okay.
That's convenient.
Yeah, that was very, only power to provide one. It's okay.
I was a little bit like, it's really bad of me. But when he was saying you need to find his parents, he died a long time ago, I was like, parents probably aren't around.
In a war-torn country.
Oh, you might not find them. You've wasted that, Daddy Pink.
I also sends a child into Clara's home. Could have chosen a more convenient time, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Did choose
In
the
the
middle of the night. While she's asleep.
It was just so like she was asleep, and then voice was just like, "Clara, wake up!" And it's like, what are we watching? It looked like a bit of a Who. Do you remember Primeval? I was like, "Is a T-Rex coming out?" Something I wanted to talk about, which I think is interesting. Hopefully, the Mistress being like evaporated by Cyber General Lethbridge, whatever his name was. Quite a weird reference in that not a lot of people watching Doctor Who now will know who that character was. So it felt so convenient to me. It felt really convenient as a way of like getting all the blood off of anyone we like's hands. Like bringing back this old character from decades ago and being like, oh, he's, thanks, General. I
and he
really
got
didn't
his
like
salute,
it at all.
though, there.
That kind of wrapped that up.
Oh,
but
that-
yeah, I
Like,
know what you mean.
no one wanted a wrap up from 10
Yeah,
plus
Yeah, it was
years
like
ago.
completely unnecessary. Yeah, it was just like, oh, your dad, by the way. Do you remember your dad? Oh, kids, if you just started watching, you won't remember this guy.
Yeah,
but
he
it's gonna
really
be
wanted a
important in the
salute.
end.
There has to be something for the old Who fans, though, doesn't there?
Yeah, we gotta keep him happy.
I mean, they kind of ruined an old favourite villain, so
Yeah.
there had to be something for them.
But then they did bring an old favourite hero back as an
Ruined that,
independent
yeah.
Cyberman, so it swings and roundabouts, really.
What was I going to say about Cybermen?
Something daft. Should we do highlights and lowlights?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit of a put down.
Yeah, no, go for it. Oh, no! The Master!
Yes.
I was really hoping there was going to be a new Master storyline. Horribly disappointing end for the Master. Just evaporated.
Yeah, but
I thought there was going to be something dramatic with the Doctor. Shall I evaporate him? No. Shall I
Yeah.
not? I thought he was going to pull some sort of trick off and then they were going to
Putting
go...
it into some sort of
in a
permanent
painting
hell
and then
or-
not mention it for another series or something like that.
I just feel like she was so good, and I like having a female master, not for any feminist reason. I just think it that dynamic between the two of them was really nice. That they can't end it like that. That can't be the end of her. There must be something that we've missed, or
evil
they'll
comes-
just pull something
Yeah.
back the next.
The
series
Master
and be
comes back
"Ta-da!"
every time.
I think the little kid. I think we're all counting
little
out the
kid
little
is the
kid.
Master?
I reckon that's my bet. We'll be watching in 5 years' time and be like, called it on episode 12, the first Debrief series.
I don't know. There's got to be more. I just feel so unsatisfied with the Master
Yeah.
storyline. Do we think Master becoming a woman, introducing sort of cross-gender regeneration, foreshadowing for a female Doctor?
I hope not.
Ooh, see, if I said that, feminists up in arms. It's okay for Emma to say it.
No, I hope not. I think. Well, I would love to play the Doctor, so yes, I hope so in
Really?
that
I don't
respect.
think
Well, you are.
But I just don't feel like it's necessary. Why would the Doctor have to be a woman?
Why
is it
Why
okay?
should he be a man every time?
Well, because we know the Doctor as a man. We know the Doctor in all of his 12/13 forms. And he's been a man, and we're comfortable with him. And although he has different, personality every time he comes, that's the Doctor. That is his character. Why does it have to change just to keep some left-wing feminists happy? There is no reason for it to change to a woman, apart from trying to keep people happy and to be politically
Just be
correct.
a nice change, I think.
No,
It's like
and I
having a
think they'd have to be so careful with the casting as well.
If say if Missy wasn't Missy and she was cast as a Doctor, would that not be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's great. I think Michelle Gomez is brilliant. She's been brilliant in everything I've seen her in. But I just don't think it's necessary.
I would be quite happy.
Because, I mean, I'm sure I would love it. But it just feels like the only reason they would do it is to
force it.
To
bend
please people.
to bend to people's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to keep everyone happy and just, trying to be politically correct or, trying not to be sexist. And that's really the only reason for it. I don't want to see Fagin from Oliver Twist as a woman. I don't need to see Macbeth as a woman.
Yeah, but
you
they
don't
were-
need to make these classic characters into women.
They were written as men, though, weren't they? Whereas the Doctor is continually evolving and
Yeah.
continually being written.
I
So
suppose so, yeah.
it's not an adaptation for the sake of it. It's part of the solid storyline.
I just feel and I'm a big sci-fi and fantasy fan, and yeah, there's not enough amazing women in that genre, but there's quite a few, and it's getting better and it's getting better. So you can't just say, oh well, there's no one in fantasy that's a woman. There's no one that I can relate to. There's plenty of kick-ass women in fantasy that I can relate to, or that I'm oh yeah, she's brilliant. I don't need the Doctor to be a woman as well.
They still won't make a Wonder Woman film, though, will they?
Oh, and they'll give Wonder Woman her Xena Warrior Princess costume.
Still won't happen.
Different story. That's a rant for a different day.
Should we do highlights and lowlights?
Yeah, let's do highlights and highlights.
Moving
I'm
on.
just staying well out of this.
Moving on.
Highlights first. Rob Wong. Give me your one single glowing highlight.
Doctor Free falling into the TARDIS. Just incredible. It's everything I've ever dreamed of. Literally everything. Like,
You didn't know how badly you wanted it until it happened.
exactly. If I die and I get the chance to relive one moment, any moment that I've ever lived again, it will be the first time I saw the Doctor Free falling into the TARDIS. That's how much I loved it. Oh, it's fucking amazing. I can't.
Love.
Emma, do you have a single standout highlight?
I have two. I liked Missy and the Doctor's little face off when, you know, she got rid of the door and she was like, oh, see you later, and he was like dangling off. I thought that scene was brilliant between the two of them, and also her coming in like Mary Poppins.
That was a really
That
good
was
moment.
brilliant.
I'm gonna shake things up. Stand-up moment, Nick Frost as Santa Claus.
Oh, we haven't spoken about that yet.
Good.
What was that?
And if I can't pick that, which apparently I can't, then probably the cafe hug scene was just like...
The feels.
That got
Yeah,
me.
that
That
was really
really
touching.
got me.
Moffat at his finest.
Yeah, that was just great. And that idea of... Oh, it's really good. Really good. Loved it.
Lowlights.
Lowlights. I've got one already.
Okay.
So... almost 2 weeks ago, we saw a trailer with Clara saying, like, there is no Clara Oswald. And it was just going to be like, and I've been thinking about it since, and it's been like...
You've literally not stopped talking
It's
about
been
it.
like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I was expecting, like, you know, because they led with that in the trailer, and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, of all the bits that I wasn't so keen on this episode, that was the bit that I was just like, oh, is that what this is? And even when she was like, but I'm the Doctor, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And then it was just like, turned out she was lying. And I was like, oh.
Disappointing.
Maybe I just, you know, hyped myself too much up for it.
It was
for
a bit
like
of a
2
waste of
weeks.
screen time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, it was a good way of getting out stuff. And we've seen her pretend to be the Doctor before. But I just found it a weird scene to put, like, promo priority on if it's not going to lead really to anything, you
Yeah.
know. And there were plenty of bits that I wasn't that keen on. But that was the bit I think I just kind of felt a bit let down by, actually. Sorry.
That's your opinion, don't
Yeah,
we?
fair enough.
Thanks, guys.
Fair enough.
What are your lowlights?
The girl from the 50th anniversary who had the Tom Baker scarf, and then she was back this episode with the bow ties are cool. You know, I was so ready for her to be the next companion, and so was she. She was so ready to have adventures in time and space, and it's
so
like
was he as well. Doctor
Yeah,
was well up for
like,
it.
That's key.
yeah, I loved that little dynamic between them. I thought that would have worked really well. I hoped that's what it was leading to, and I really liked that scene with, you know, I'm going to kill you in a minute. That worked really well, and then, oh my God, no, she did actually kill her. What was those security guards all about? Like, she got her hand out and started doing her lippy, and the security guards are still just standing there, just like, all right, pal. And then she gets over to her, and the security guards are still just like, all right,
Playing.
all right.
You know.
So that was my low light. That because I didn't want her to die. I really wanted her to be the next companion.
It was too obvious though, wasn't it? It was like when Kylie Minogue was lined up to be the companion during the episode.
Yeah.
It was like, she's definitely going to die. Maybe not in a forklift in lava, but that happened.
So was it a low light because it was upsetting, or a low light because it was just like a bad scene? Or a bit
I
of both?
think because, you know, it was building up for us to become attached to her, and we liked her in the 50th, and it was like, oh yeah, she's back for this episode, and then it's like, oh, dead. And it was just, I think it was just a bit disappointing. It was a bit of a letdown because I was really starting to really like that character.
I quite like that though, because it shows how sort of careless that Missy is, and how much
Yeah.
she is just reckless, and no one means anything to her.
But in a time where we have loads of complaints
Peaceful.
about Doctor Who not killing sidekicks off, it's a bit weird that they will recklessly kill off like supporting characters, but
Oh,
not.
everyone went. It was like an episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
this.
it was
like
just-
everyone was gone.
True.
Low light, Rob.
Low light for me was Cybermen attacking the plane. The whole thing was just a bit. It wasn't Doctor Who.
No.
No.
It just didn't feel like I was watching Doctor Who. Like the Doctor on the plane being addressed as the president. Where were they even going, please?
As a president, I feel like he should have done more. Whereas it was just like, you're on the plane, you're the president. Oh man, Iron Man 3's happening.
No, that was my low light. Cybermen attacking the plane scene shouldn't have happened. The plane scene at all shouldn't have happened. It just felt a bit pointless. That whole
But if they weren't on the
sequence.
plane, then he couldn't have done his free falling.
That's true.
So
You've got to have the bad before you get the
silver lining.
the best moment of your life.
Put up with the rain to get the rainbow.
All right, Scouts.
Should we do a houlogy?
Okay, so you know about Hoology.
No, inform me.
Thanks for watching. Every week we pay our respects to a character who has died during the episode, like a eulogy, but for Doctor Who. That's why it's called a Hoology. Chris hasn't just got a speech impediment, it's actually called a Hoology.
Okay.
Christopher.
I really liked Sanjeev Bhaskar, who was playing... I can't remember if he was General or Captain, and I think his surname was Ahmed. And I love him, and I was really willing for him to be like this, you know, to have this glorious episode. And then he just got like pulled off the side of a plane like, no, and I was like, oh man.
How did a fully grown adult fit through that window, by the way?
That's definitely my eulogy. I think I love him. He's a great actor. And I wanted a bit more, and so I was very upset when his character died, but I guess it was part of the plot.
Emma?
Yeah, no, I feel you there, yeah. Mine was Ollie off of The Thick of It.
Yeah, just getting zapped.
Yeah, just like, you know, what is the character's
Addison.
name? Chris Addison is the actor, the curly-haired boy who
Yeah.
was showing Danny around the afterlife last week.
Yes.
Yeah, like because I'm a massive Thick of It fan, I was kind of hoping I would get a scene between Peter Capaldi and Chris Addison because of their relationship in The Thick of It. I kind of wanted that. And I liked him as a character, and then it was like, okay, bye.
It was a lot of characters were just okay, bye, weren't
Yeah.
they? Right, going off topic. How did Missy get into the cloud? In
Umbrella?
a physical form? What? Because it's not an actual place, is it? It's just a mental
Probably
place.
the bracelet.
It's a data center thing, wasn't it?
So how did she get her physical form into a data?
Maybe she's not actually dead, and her save is backed up to the cloud.
Probably.
And
then it'll get hacked and they'll be naked.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that'll be
we are not going there. Rob, what's your eulogy, please?
Was this episode a whole metaphor for that? For celebrity leaks?
The next companion, Jessica Lawrence. Moving on. My
Jennifer
eulogy-
Lawrence.
Jennifer.
Fuck is Jessica Lawrence?
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on.
My eulogy, so many to choose from. I think my eulogy was every dead person ever who died again as a Cyberman.
Yeah.
There we go, done.
Didn't even just die, he got like blown up.
I know, it wasn't even just like a gentle one, was it? That was...
This wasn't a gentle one at all.
Stop it.
Good. So that's it. The last episode of Doctor Who Debrief.
Season 1.
Season 1. Oh, are we doing it again?
Watch this space.
We'll have a
See what
production
happens.
meeting.
I might fire Rob. So we all look forward to the Christmas episode with Nick Frost as a very jolly looking Santa Claus, and so we watch this space for that to come out in December. But if you want to go back and live through the archive of Doctor Who Debrief, then you can do so on YouTube by searching for Doctor Who Debrief. In fact, it's all in one convenient playlist on That Boy There Radio Wong's channel, or you can go on soundcloud.com and search for Doctor Who Debrief, or check us out on iTunes or Stitcher. Please do, because it would be nice.
Yeah, so thanks for watching today and the entire series.
And for listening.
And for listening on SoundCloud. Thank you for appearing as our final guest.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Good. And we'll see you soon, possibly.
See what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
No
We'll have a
promises.
meeting and see how the budget's looking. Okay, bye!
Bye!
Bye.